Okay guys, today I want to show you something. This right here is a pan that did not season properly. It never has worked right. This right here is a properly seasoned pan. Now these are just cheap carbon steel pans that I picked up from my local agri supply. I want to say they were between $3 to $4 a piece. They are just like I said, cheap, made in China. This small one here is a 3818, and the larger one here, I want to say it's this is a nice size pan for camping for more than one person, as you can see, compared to the size of my hand, and this one here compared to the size of my hand. This is what I prefer to take with me when it's just me and I want to fry a pan. This one for the family. But the reason I purchased these actually were to go in my camper, because I try to keep the weight in my camper down as much as possible. I don't want to be dragging all that weight going down the road. But today we're going to take this pan that did not take a good season, and we're going to try to season it again and see if we can't make this pan look like this pan. Stay with me. I'll reposition, get the fire going good here, and I'll describe what we're doing. Hey guys, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today, like I described earlier, we're going to try to re-season this carbon steel pan. Excuse the smoke blowing right in my face, but I'm trying to get in a good position so you can see here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I've got my stainless steel bush pot over top of the fire. Got me some good hot water going, and I put this pan over top of a wood fire. And the reason I'm using a wood fire is I need a nice, consistent, even heat. An electric range is what we initially tried to season this pan on, and you could actually see the electric where the coils were, where it was heating up, and that was the beginning of messing up this pan. A gas range similar has it works a lot better, and you don't have those different pieces of metal in your way, and I don't know, it just seems to work better. But my favorite way to do it is out over the campfire like this, and I've just got this little Pathfinder pack grill here that I'm using to support the pan, and I'm taking that boiled water, and well, you can't really see it that good right now. Let me try to zoom in on it. You can see where there was some oil that tried to form a coat on the outside of the pan. I'll move you right up here. And you can see that ring, that brown streak. That's just a buildup of oil, and it's actually built up too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to remove as much of that as possible. I don't want to try to put anything new over top of an oil base that's already burned on there. And when you're doing this, you want to do small, even coats when you're applying it. And this happened the first time I tried to use the pan. I actually tried to fry in it, and somehow I wound up with that line all the way around it. And like I said, the pan just never took. Now it could be the pan itself, we'll find out. But the first job is to clean everything off and get as much of that oil off as I can. As soon as I get that done, I'll bring you back in. Okay, I've got the pan back over the fire now. I boiled it and cleaned it out with a paper towel the best I could, and I even used one of these sanding blocks to get in there and try to clean it a little bit, and that's about as good as I can get it right now. So what I'm going to do now is start heating it up and see what I can burn off of it. Just throw that over top of that hot fire like that. You have to excuse the noise. Got some helicopters doing some training in the area around the house today, but that's okay. That's the sound of freedom, and we'll put up with that without any issue at all. Try to get this into sunlight just right. Now if you look, you can tell right in here where that, ooh, that's hot. Where that heavy coating is, see how it's all peeling off? I got just a couple of areas there left to try to get off of there. Alright, let's see what we got. Now look, it should go without saying, you're going to need a really good pair of gloves for this. One of the things about carbon, let me show you this. As this thing cooks, of course, it gets that soot and stuff on the inside that build up. So you want to wipe all of that out really well. And as you can tell now, you can still see where that oily layer is, but that buildup is pretty much gone. Alright, so we're back close to factory. Not quite, but close. Alright, we're going to put that on there and take a little bit of hot water and put it in there. Wash that out real good. Let it boil and get any oil that's remaining in there out. Then we'll clean it and we'll start our seasoning process again. Alright. Wash that around. Let's get rid of that. Okay. And now we're going to dry that out. Set that back over top of the fire. I'm going to reach over and five you here. I'm going to take a little bit of oil and put in the pan. Not a lot. Grab that thing, slush that oil all around in there really good. I want to coat everything inside of it. Move it around really good. Make sure I get it all up on the edge. Swirl it around in the bottom. And I'm going to just dump what's left of that oil. Then I'm going to take my paper towel and all of that oil that's left in there, I'm going to try to wipe it all out. Get rid of every bit of it that I can. Just wipe it. I want an oily residue left in there, but I do not want a buildup of oil. And while I'm at it, I'm going to wipe the outside too. I'm going to season both sides of this thing. Get it all coated, right on up on the handle. All that's going to help keep the food from sticking, help improve our sanitary conditions in camp. Now I'm going to take that and set it right back on the fire. And I'm going to watch it. And as it starts to turn black, let me get you up here nice and close. As it starts to get black, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to wipe that oil around in there. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I need to get it done, but I tried to research on YouTube how to do this with these thin, lightweight pans. And there were only a couple of videos that showed it. And that was a little bit different kind of a pan, and it was in more of a restaurant type setting, at least what I was able to find. And I wanted to try something that was a little bit more in line with those of us who do camping and backpacking and practicing bushcraft, but yet wants the comfort of a frying pan every once in a while. You know, just because we're out practicing bushcraft all the time doesn't mean we have to necessarily be roughing it. Like I said, a really good pair of gloves is absolutely essential, and you're going to need plenty of these paper towels. Matter of fact, I'm going to get rid of those and get me some nice clean ones now. Let me take a break for a minute and I'll bring you right back. I'm going to reposition because of the sun. Okay, eventually the pan starts to smoke because it's on such high heat, and if you look, you can actually see where I was wiping the oil on it. This is when you want to pull it off of there and start wiping all of that oil out. You do not want that buildup of heavy oils in there. That's what happened the first time when we got that outer coat. Same thing on the outside, on the back side. Man, the sun is killing me. But we're going to take it like that, wipe it, get all of that soot and all off, and wipe it down with this paper towel while it's hot. Okay, now we're going to put it back on the fire, and we're going to put some more oil in it. But this time I'm just going to take this paper towel and I'm going to dip it in my cup of oil. Get it just a little bit saturated on the corner and pick it up and rub it in there. I'm going to make sure I coat the entire pan as even as I can. And once again, once I get the inside, move to the outside. Right on up on the handle and making sure I coat the bottom real well. Now I'm just going to continue to repeat this process until this pan is the blackness and has the coating on it that I need. And depending on how hot the fire is, depends on how often you need to pick it up and wipe that oil out of it. But I'm going to tell you what, my experience is you can't do this too much. As long as that pan is good and hot, and you just keep picking it up, wiping it down. As soon as you start to see some color take place, start to see some color changes, and getting where you want it, go ahead and pick it up and wipe it again. And then just keep reapplying thin coats of oil as you need more oil. And it doesn't hurt to move the pan to different places on the rack too, to try to concentrate the heat on the side that's not taking as much of a set of that oil as you want. So don't be afraid to move it around. But if you start to see it smoking heavily, you need to pull it off of there, because once again, you do not want to burn that oil and turn it a black from just being burnt and have a buildup. You want a nice, light, easy buildup. And sometimes for the sides, you have to pick that thing up. That's why it's important to have good gloves to get those sides to start to take that oil, and to take that seasoning, you have to get it up on its edge. The hardest place to get it to take that seasoning is right here where this handle is welded onto the back side of the pan, because the metal is twice as thick. So that's a tough spot. But the rest of it, you can just pick it up like this and let it heat up on those edges. And as it starts to turn black, just keep moving it around like this, forcing that oil right where you want it, the bottom being the hottest. And you know, prepare for a good hot project, because I'm going to tell you right now, my legs are cooking, and if it weren't for this glove, my hands would be burning. And it's a slow process. So let me put a couple more coats with the oil on here, and I'll bring you right back as we start to finish it up. See it starting to smoke? We're going to pull that off now. Okay, we're getting real close to finishing up here, and I wanted to show you this. I've got this pan over good high heat, and I hope you can see it smoking. And as it starts to smoke, it's turning blacker and blacker. And I just take that very lightly oiled paper towel. That's about 6 paper towels, the good heavy duty ones. And it's just enough so that the paper towel is damp on the end. I put it right back over that real high heat. Make sure that I keep the pan moving. That way the grates on the grill are not affecting any of the heat. And as it starts to smoke, I pick it up and wipe it really good. I'm wiping that oil all over the bottom of that pan. Put it back on there, and it almost immediately starts to smoke. And that color is turning a richer and richer color, from a light brown to a real dark brown. And now I'm actually starting to get kind of like a spider web of black. And that black is what we want. That real dark brown to black, and that shiny sheen on that steel. So this is getting real close now. I'm going to have to pay close attention to it. But once you get it to this point, you just keep wiping it. Make sure you keep a little bit of oil on your paper towel. Be extremely careful not to burn yourself, because I'm telling you, it's getting awfully hot. And I'm going to give you one more close-up look. Move you over here a little bit, just so you can try to see it. The sun's playing havoc on me. All right, I got to go. I got to move it. Okay, I'm done. I've got this pan to the color that I want. And here's what I do that I did not see many people doing. I'm going to simply place that. Make sure you're in frame here. I'm going to place that back on the fire. And then I'm going to take a good sized cup of oil, and I'm going to just pour all of that oil in here, just like I'm going to fry. And the last step is I want to move that oil all up on these sides and just keep that hot oil there. And I'm going to let that sit there over these hot coals, and I'll just keep splashing it on those sides, and I'm going to let it go until these coals start to cool down a little bit. And the more that oil sits in there and cooks and fries, it's just the better off it's going to be. I'll show you the end product here in a little bit. Okay, I moved over here in the shade hoping you can see this better. But after about 6 times of coating and wiping, it started to take on a good set. And after a dozen times, we got a really nice coating out of it. And I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll give that a try and see how it does cooking some eggs, and maybe a later on video. Alright guys, that does it for today. Thanks for joining me as we retreated this carbon steel pan. I hope you found it informative. And until next time, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft, home of global safety and survival. God bless.